It's been about 48 hours since Battlefield 6 has officially launched, and we've gotten good, we've gotten bad, and we've gotten some, I don't even know what to think of this, so let's talk about it. This video, we're gonna go over everything: visuals, audio, settings, weapon grind, the gadgets, maps, movement, everything that you can think of when it comes to Battlefield, except the campaign. Hot garbage, not gonna waste time talking about it. Watch another video if you wanna talk about the campaign. But I wanna see if Battlefield 6 is worth your $70. At some times, I think it is, other times, maybe not. So if you want to bounce around, I have this all broken up into chapters below, so skip over to things that are more interest to you, or just watch the whole video through. All right, so let's first talk about the Battlefield 6 launch experience, because Battlefield 4, if you guys remember that launch, that was so bad, it actually prevented me from playing Battlefield for 6 months. The network issues, the server problems, I was so excited to play Battlefield 4, and that launch was so bad, half a year went by before I booted Battlefield 4 back up. Not the case here. Yes, if you had the EA app, you were locked out for like 8 hours, 12 hours. It was actually kind of crazy that the EA app, they kind of broke up the game into DLCs where the multiplayer, the single player campaign, various parts of the game is fragmented to help with install size, so you can pick and choose what you want to install. And it seemed like the EA app just didn't validate the game. You could boot it up, but you couldn't actually play multiplayer. Had a couple people join my party, and we couldn't party up together to join because one of them was in an EA app. Now, to their credit, the devs did give EA Play affected players XP boosts, some game time, so that way they could get their grind back up for missing the launch time. It still sucks, let's just be honest here, not a good time, but overall, for the vast majority of people, the queues went by quick, and honestly, that's incredibly impressive. Within 15 minutes, I was in the cinematic experience that is Battlefield 6. Say what you want about the gameplay, whether or not you like it, visually, the audio, everything is so immersive in Battlefield 6. The weapon sounds, the jets overhead, the vehicles all around you, things exploding, people yelling, the announcers, they actually have good announcers that really bring you back to Battlefield 4. It sounds good, it looks good, it feels good, everything just feels like you are immersed in the nostalgia of something like Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. Seriously, walking out onto Firestorm, the 2025 version, it kind of reminded me of what I thought Firestorm actually looked like over a decade ago. That's how good it was. Like, you know, you have those memories in like HD, and then you actually go play it and you're like, oh, okay, it's a little different. No, this is exactly what I remembered Firestorm supposing to be like, and incredible. Audio design, visuals of Battlefield 6, the best out there right now. But there is a caveat to that, and I think we need to talk about destruction, because destruction was seen as a huge thing from the marketing side. The devs have always talked about what they want to do with destruction and Battlefield and how they're just tied together. The destruction, I think, is definitely fun and impressive. Sometimes you feel like you can knock a whole building down. Other times, unlike Morak Valley on the construction site, there's blown out concrete walls, but a tank round won't blow out another one. Sobek City, half of it is under construction, but nothing falls apart. It's very odd what you can and can't destroy in Battlefield 6. And it takes you away from the moment. One moment you are blowing up a house, and the other one you're stuck with a sledgehammer thinking you can break through something, but you can't. And it actually takes away from gameplay, since it prevents me now a lot of times from going places that actually are destructible because I've been prevented from going somewhere before. It's a little unfortunate that not more of these buildings or walls or whatever are enterable. There's even certain buildings on maps like Empire State or Manhattan Bridge, which you can't get through because a door is there, and 90% of the other doors and other maps you can burst through, but I can't breach it. I can't blow it up. I'm just stuck with a door, and it is kind of a bummer. It definitely takes away from the moment. But I do like some of the Levolution things, like the crane on Morak Valley is super cool. That whole thing falling down, it really gives you the old nostalgia of Levolution, the Battlefield 4 Levolution. It makes me think that we are going to have more impressive Levolutions with other maps, maybe Season 1, Season 2, sometime next year. But generally, I think it's okay, but it is lacking. It's not as just wow, amazing, impressive as I thought it was in the trailer earlier this year. Now moving on to weapons, before we actually talk about the weapons themselves and the grind and attachments and all that, I have seen a lot of people online talk about how they hate the gunplay due to the weapon bloom, the randomness of bullets and everything like that. Generally, I actually really like the gunplay. I have found that the base weapon of anything, whether it's an AR, carbine, SMG, LMG, whatever it is, the base, vanilla, no attachments, whatever you get when you first unlock it at Mastery 0 is rough. It is very difficult to use. You need to tap fire, even like 50 meters, when you don't think you would have to tap fire in other games. You have to tap fire in this game, otherwise the rounds just go everywhere. Some completely random places, they miss their target. It kind of sucks. There is random deviation, but I think random deviation has been in pretty much every single Battlefield game. It's just part of the series. But when you start to tap fire, when you start to get the attachments like the foregrips, the ergo stuff, it's not that bad. And you start to really get the hang of it. The tap fire, also swapping weapons that can have a fire select mode. Instead of going full auto, you swap to semi, and you can hit 102 meter shots easy with just 4 or 5 rounds at just tap fire. You're good to go. So I think a lot of people who are complaining about the bloom, I'm not saying they're necessarily wrong because it can seem aggressive at times, but the gunplay is fun. You just need to adjust to the game itself. It's definitely not Call of Duty. I just played the Black Ops 7 beta for all 30 levels, grinded nearly 1,000 kills. That game, it feels like your bullets go exactly where your crosshair is almost every single time. Not quite true with Battlefield, but tap fire, swapping fire modes, I think you're going to be in a much better spot. Now, the level grind itself, I'm also going to be a little contrarian on this one. I also don't think it's that big of a deal. Some people, I think yesterday, so 36 hours into the game, and these were people who did not have early access to Battlefield 6, they were already saying that they had finally gotten Mastery level 50 to their weapon. 36 hours after the game, they had probably played roughly 20, 25 hours of just one weapon, grinding it out and saying that they've finally achieved it. And other people chiming in like, oh man, wow, I can't wait to spend, 2,000 hours grinding out every weapon to Mastery level. That's not the type of game this is. I mean, Battlefield and Call of Duty, you can compare them, but weapon grinds, I think this grind is perfectly fine. I mean, you don't need to get every attachment all the time. Also, Call of Duty, they have cross attachments. You can have certain optics are unlocked from other guns. Like, you don't just have to do Mastery through the entire level and get everything. Battlefield isn't really like that. So the weapon grind itself, it's going to take you a while. I think right now I have a few weapons that are over level 10, but I bounce around. I've been making sure to try things out because certain maps, certain game modes, they have a different style. I mean, yeah, the M4A1, for example, can kind of carry you most everywhere, but it's been fun to try different things and to try different attachments. I think that is really where Battlefield shines. We have, I think, over 40 weapons to choose from. Play around with them, find something you like, and then go with it. You're not going to grind everything, especially 2 days after the game. I think the grind, it's going to be kind of long, but sit back and enjoy the ride. And if you're enjoying Conquest, the smaller game modes, you'll get through the weapons no problem. After about Mastery level 8 or 10, I think that's when you start to really control the weapons a little bit better. You get attachments that have that a bit more of the control, give you a little bit more accuracy when you tap fire or full auto or even hip fire with the flashlights. Enjoy the ride. It's literally 2-3 days after the game is out. You're not going to have everything. Your weapon is not going to be a laser beam. That's not the whole point. Now, overall weapon balance, I think right now the M4A1 is by far and away the best weapon in the game. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, being a carbine. I mean, there's always been one good weapon in Battlefield. I don't necessarily think it's going to take away from the other weapons, especially since we don't have all the attachments. Not everything's unlocked right now. We're going to have new weapons every season. I'm fine with the M4 being a pretty good generalist weapon. I have found, though, that the more I rank up, the more I experience attachments with other weapons, that I'm finding more fun weapons to play around with. Things like the DRS IAR, which is like the Battlefield version of the M27. I thought that thing was absolutely hot garbage when I unlocked it. I couldn't hit anything while just proned and bipoded. It was going all over the place. I got a few attachments for it, and now I'm running around, and it is hard hitting. It is super fun to use. That is like my go-to support weapon right now, and it's only mastery level 8 or 10 or something. I really think that the weapon meta will evolve a little bit. I think the carbine is outshining everything right now, but that's not a bad thing. I think generally there's some really good weapons, some really bad weapons. The shotgun, I know people are going to complain about the shotgun. The M44 revolver, by far and away my favorite sidearm. Overall, I think they're in a good spot. We'll just have to see over the next month or so. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some balancing for the carbines, though. It's M4 is like running away with everything right now. Now, when it comes to gadgets, I actually think a lot of the gadgets are in a really good spot. Especially the biggest change from the beta to launch was the removal of dual launchers for the engineers. You can't do AA and AT at the same time. You can't carry a Stinger and an RPG at the same time. You got to pick one or the other. Fantastic decision. Maybe they were just testing how lethal that was during the beta, but either way, it really makes you think about what you want to carry, and you can't just deal with a helicopter and a jet and then a tank. Fantastic decision, and that's how Battlefield always has been. The one big complaint I have, however, is that they've given the MBT Law, which is a guided top-down attack missile, it's also fire forget guided top-down attack missile, to the base engineer. Level 0, you can use this MBT Law. You fire it in the general direction, it finds a vehicle, starts tracking it, top-down attack does a bunch of damage. This should be maybe level 10. This should honestly be like higher than the RPG. Maybe they should have used a regular law like the M72 law for the base weapon. That was just kind of a small fire forget one-time use thing. But the MBT law, this thing destroys vehicles, and every new player is always going to have them. I know it makes it easy. I think that's a little too brainless for a level 0 person to be using. Like I said, the RPG is my go-to now at level 13. Fantastic unlock. I like having a little bit more control in where my rocket goes, and the RPG is perfect for that. When it comes to assault gadgets, the breach gun, I've tried using it. I can't really find any places that it's beneficial compared to the other gadgets. I think this thing needs a little bit of a buff. It seems like it's in a really weird spot of maybe be really good for like search and destroy type game modes, smaller game modes, one life game modes, the sabotage that we're coming with maybe in season 1. But right now, this breach gun is kind of a waste for the assault. The ladder, though, is really cool. I've been using the ladder on a lot of different maps. Really fun to place, really fun to get around on flanks that people don't expect or cross gaps that you wouldn't normally be able to jump. It is a little buggy, though. Sometimes you get up to it and it literally launches you. I have taken fall damage, nearly died because I try to go up it and it just kicks you off of it. It is a little buggy. I hope they can iron out the bugs, but it's a really good addition to the game. Love the ladder. Now, out of all the gadgets, the one that I think is by far and away the best is the supply bag. I still think having ammo and health in one bag is a little OP. Most, I think, good players are choosing to use support. You can heal yourself, you can rearm yourself. It is OP. A one bag does everything, and the only downside at the moment is it seems like the bag is a little buggy. Sometimes it doesn't actually rearm your gadget all the way. I'd have someone drop an ammo bag, I try to rearm my RPG, you can see the progress bar load up, and then just stop. I haven't left anywhere. I don't know what's going on with these supply bags. It is a little buggy. I still wouldn't be opposed to having an ammo bag and a health bag, or they used to have health pouches and ammo pouches in other games, so you could just kind of do it for yourself. I'm not opposed to that stuff, but right now the supply bag, super OP. Aside from that, the overall kits, I think they're in a good spot. Now, I would prefer closed weapons. I've been generally playing closed weapons where the MGs, you're a support player. The SMGs, you're an engineer. Assault rifles, assault. Snipers, sniper, recon. But I will say this. At this point, I understand we're in the minority. The open weapons have won. That's what Battlefield 6 is designed for. Even with open weapons, I'll just say that the kit synergy between support players helping out their team, assaults kind of breaching through, engineers doing vehicle stuff, and recon being annoying, it's working. It is by far and away a huge improvement from 2042, where it's just like everyone was doing their whatever the hell they wanted. I think at least the kit balance is back. Kits feel like you're doing your role all the time, even if you don't have the proper weapons. So huge plus from Battlefield 2042. It feels like Battlefield again with everyone doing their roles. Now, before we go into vehicles, I do want to touch really quickly on movement. I like the movement. I know a lot of aimers and the movement community, the slip sliders, they're really upset that the movement has changed so drastically from the beta. I really didn't like the beta movement. I thought it was a little too crazy. It felt way too more like Apex Legends than Battlefield. There was a bug preventing players from actually carrying their momentum forward with certain weapons that the devs have hotfixed today as of recording this. So maybe they were feeling that with the stop starting and the movement just feeling very jarring whenever they are trying to get out of a slide. Whatever it is, the movement, I thought the beta was a little too much. Right now, I think it's in a good spot. It feels like Battlefield, and I genuinely like it. I'm having fun, and the only thing I think that is my biggest problem is the roll. This combat roll, it looks ridiculous when it happens. Sometimes it feels like I should be pulling my parachute, but then I'm hitting the ground and rolling forward. It's very disorienting. I'm not a huge fan of the combat roll. Didn't like it when they added in Battlefield 5 and don't like it now. All right, vehicles. Now, I like the vehicles. I'm a land vehicle player. IFVs, tanks are my jam. I think the CV90, I think the Bradley, they're both in a really good spot. The high explosive on the autocannon absolutely shreds infantry. The ATGM, you can't usually fight against a tank, but if you get some good side armor shots or hit them in the rear, you're usually going to be okay. It's in a good spot for an IFV standpoint. I would like to see some things like the BTRs in the future, some of these wheeled vehicles. I would love to see those, the LAVs, BTRs, just something, maybe even like a ZBL, you know, if we have China or something in the future, that type of stuff would be really cool. Now, the tanks themselves, I've heard a lot of people complain that the tank armor combat, like when you're fighting another tank, they dislike. Overall, I've been having fun with it. Now, it is a Battlefield game, so the tank that has reps will always win. If you have someone in your second seat repping and then dismounting the moment combat starts, that tank will always win against one that doesn't. Doesn't matter how good you hit your shots, you're gonna have to get a repair monkey to hop on the back of your turret and just left click your repair tool. It's just how it goes. You kind of have to pick and choose when to engage. If you notice someone else has a repair kit, you need to figure out how to get an angle, how to kill that repair guy, or get your AT nearby to also engage. I've been having fun with it. Armor matters, where you're facing your tank, certain angles, deflecting shots. The UI is a little hard to read. You can't always tell when you're doing damage, and I feel like the AP rounds, I don't think they're doing much. Heat rounds and AP rounds seem to be doing about 200 to 250 damage to a tank, like facing front armor. Now, it's obviously not the best place to hit a tank, but that's the most direct comparison between heat and AP I've seen. It doesn't really seem like there's any benefit to using AP. The balance in that seems a bit off, but it is what it is. I'm having fun with it. I think they should fix the tank rounds, but overall, I think if people are complaining about the tank fights right now, they're either not used to Battlefield armor fights or they just don't have a repair kit. Now, the only downside I've seen from the tanks, the IFVs, even the little buggies, is there's some weird like wobble bug. Sometimes when you're on what feels like level ground, your vehicle will just kind of start shaking up and down. It's very disorienting. It really makes you miss shots. Something is going on with some collision with terrain or little rocks or pebbles or tracks or tires. If that can be ironed out, then I have zero complaints about tank combat. But that is just tank combat. I'm not a big helicopter pilot. I'm not a big jet pilot. But helis right now are in a weird spot. The flight model, not the best. Obviously, we don't have the little birds, but hopefully we get that soon. Helicopters are in a bad spot, but jets are even worse. You can't even customize jets. That doesn't make any sense. You can't customize it. You just hop in, you get the jet, you fly it. The flight model's a little weird. Flight radar doesn't work. I hopped in it. I could see someone outside my cockpit and it wasn't showing up on my radar. Incredibly confusing how little they've actually thought about the jet-to-jet combat or even air-to-ground combat. It just feels like jets have been completely overlooked when they're one of the most cinematic moments of Battlefield. If you're a land vehicle player, you're having a good time. If you're a helicopter pilot, it's kind of iffy, and if you're a Jet player, well, enjoy it. I think you have like 3 maps to play on, and you can't customize your jets. So if you're buying this just to play jets, you might want to wait. I'm just going to call it how it is. All right, so let's talk about the maps, and I'm just going to say that I think they're not the worst launch maps in the series, but they're close. And I didn't think I was going to say that on launch day 2 days ago. So I am glad I gave myself a full 48 hours of playing this and digesting and looking at it. I'm glad, because if I was making this video on Friday, I was glazing everything. I was just so... Okay, so step back. Let's take a look at things. 2042 had the worst maps in the series. Not even close. Just not a fun experience whatsoever. Battlefield 5, I also don't think they had the best maps at launch, although they did have a couple good ones. Battlefield 1 was great. Battlefield 6, Cairo, Liberation Peak, Iberian Empire State, the beta maps, I think there's a couple good ones in there. Liberation Peak at this point is the only one that I'm not just super sick of, but the rest of the beta maps, I'm so burned out of them that I just don't even want to see them anymore. Cairo, I think, is great. I just don't want to see it anymore. Iberian Offensive, it's okay. I think that one is, out of all of them, it's the circle just going from A to B to C to D to A over and over again. That gets very exhausting, very tight-knit. I feel like the entire map, I felt like it played differently, but now that I'm playing it again, I kind of just back out every time I'm now in Iberian, and I'm only 2 days into the game. Empire State, I've played once since Battlefield 6 launched, and that was too much. Although I still think it's a good map, I played it so much during the beta. The overall verticality with the buildings, I think the breakthrough sector where you're pushing down an alleyway and fighting into what looks like an art gallery, I think that can be kind of cool. I don't really care about it anymore. I want to play the big maps. I want to play Conquest, like Conquest Large, and the beta maps just were not it. Liberation Peak was close, but yeah. So let's talk about the other launch maps. Before we get into the ones that I really like, I have not played Saints Quarter. It has been 2 days. I have almost 20 hours of game time. I have not been match made into Saints Quarter. I have not been custom search match made into Saints Quarter. We'll talk about matchmaking in a second. I cannot get into a game of Saints Quarter. I haven't played it. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. Literally haven't played it in almost 20 hours of playing Battlefield. Yeah, okay. Mirrock Valley is close to being the best map in the beta. Mirrock Valley is super fun. It's got some really good points in the construction site in the middle of the valley, the two construction buildings with the little construction yard and the crane in the middle of it. I love that section, being able to fight over those. Sometimes your little holdout, you finally win that as the infantry fight, and then you kind of open your map and you realize you lost everything else around it. Mirrock Valley is super fun. It flows very well. Vehicles, I think, also have their purpose. They can also take advantage of some poor infantry positioning, but infantry can take advantage of poor vehicle positioning. Jets can do their thing. Helicopters can do their thing. The transport helicopters can do a lot, whether it's airdropping troops who pair drop out. They have gun runs. The entire map is so well designed. I love that map. I thought it was going to be a little small when we first saw the overview in terms of like the actual spawn areas, because it cuts off. The maps in general in Battlefield 6, they're divvied up weird. They have giant HQ areas, spawn areas, and then it feels like it's just encroaching on the playable area. But I think it plays well. I think Mirrock Valley, by far, kind of tied with Firestorm right now and my favorite map. Firestorm as well, absolutely incredible. It really makes you feel like you're playing an HD version of Battlefield 3. I don't know what else to say other than I just want to play this almost every single time I load in. There's 24/7 Firestorm servers. That's all I want to do. In saying that, though, we'll touch on matchmaking again. If you haven't been able to play it, since I know some people have only played it once or twice, it lives up to the hype. It honestly does. Now, one thing that doesn't live up to the hype is Sobek City. Sobek City, how can I say this politically correct? It's trash. It's garbage. I thought it was good for a brief moment, and I opened my eyes and I realized every place in this, it's like a construction zone. The entire map is a construction zone, but nothing is destructible. you can never destroy the sniper spots. You can never destroy the spawn camping spots. You get bottlenecked. There's no flow. There's like some weird cliff that siphons you into the points halfway through the map as well. There's certain open areas with one high rise that you then get boxed out of. The entire thing just kind of looks bad. The construction, cluttered buildings in the middle of the map, I don't think they play very well. Close to one of the worst maps in the game right now. And that's depressing because it's one of the largest maps in the game. So Sobek City, happy to never play that again. And I didn't think I'd be saying that a couple days ago. Now, let's talk about Manhattan Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge map where you don't actually play on the bridge. I think that map is okay. It does feel a little bit kind of old school. It was like Hardline. I get some vibes of Hardline, maybe because it's maybe because it's New York, and I think of like police and cops and robbers and stuff with the buildings. I get like some Payday vibes from it as well. It looks good. I think it plays okay. I think the zip lines going up and down the buildings are cool. I like the rooftop objectives. I like the underpass objective. The biggest problem though is the map is just bugged. Sometimes you get both teams having a helicopter. Some sides only get, or some teams only get a one helicopter on load. I don't know what's going on with this, but it takes away from the entire map when one side can have air superiority for the entire time. Doesn't play very well, and I can't really judge it when it comes to Conquest because we're literally not on even playing field. Overall, it looks good, but still, all these maps that are small, they unfortunately kind of play the same, and you get kind of exhausted about Bridge maybe 2 or 3 times after playing it. Now, as a whole, if I had to rate the maps like as a group and say, hey, these 9 maps as a group, what would you score them out of 10? Like a 5 or 6. They're not the best. They play kind of the same. Some of them get repetitive. Firestorm and Mirok hard carry, and that's it. Now we can also, let's go into game modes because some maps play better in different game modes. But overall, the smaller game modes, they're just annoying. Rush and Breakthrough, I do think some of the sectors have been improved, but I get really exhausted from playing these smaller game modes, and I don't know if it's the maps or the way the actual like IMCOM stations are made, the sectors are made. Breakthrough for Firestorm, I think, is one of the better ones. Breakthrough on Liberation Peak, I think, is one of the better ones. It's okay. It's okay. Conquest is by far and away the best game mode in Battlefield 6. Escalation is kind of good. If you don't know what Escalation is, it starts off like Conquest. You have, let's say, 7 objectives, and each period, one team is going to get a point. So whoever fills up the progress bar first then gets 1 point, then the progress bar resets for the next round, and a couple of those objectives go away until by the end of these periods, you're down to like only 3 objectives, and every round a new tank or IFV or helicopter gets added into the vehicle pool. So you go from like a large spread out conquest to very close quarters, crazy chaos with vehicles explosions. It's pretty fun. I will say, I think it's very fun. Do I want to play it all the time? No. Do I get kind of burned out of it? Yes, because it is kind of chaotic, but Escalation is fun. The problem is, though, as we go into game modes, let's talk about matchmaking because it is rough. I think if anything is going to kill Battlefield 6, especially when Call of Duty comes out, it's this matchmaking, because we'll talk about Portal in a second, but Portal is definitely not a solution to matchmaking. Matchmaking, even if you just load into Battlefield and you look at it, the screen is horrible. This UI is so confusing. This Netflixification of Battlefield is a disaster. These panels are repetitive. Sometimes I feel like some are only unfeatured, some are only on this little multiplayer tab, some are repeating. There are things that are like close quarters, like Team Deathmatch and Squad Team Deathmatch and King of the Hill and Domination all in one playlist. And then you have this type of CQB, which is just King of the Hill and Domination in its own separate playlist. The panels there's so many of them. They're so confusing. They're so convoluted. And it just, I don't know if maybe they're doing that on purpose, because after a while, I look through all these panels, I try to find something, I click a button, it ends up in a game that I really didn't want, and then I back out, and so I'm like, okay, I just click all out war, whatever, I just want to play Battlefield. Whatever this is not it. It sucks. I just want like an old school battle log. I want an old school server browser. I just want to play Battlefield, not these curated experiences that the devs think we want. It's not fun. And you still have the problems that we had during the beta, which is if you play just regular Battlefield, the game is going to matchmake you with 63 other people. And then after that game ends, you are then going to be matchmade with 63 new people. So you don't know what map is going to come next. The game also doesn't know what map you just played. So I did Breakthrough, for example, Empire State Breakthrough. I was on defense. I was trying to get my Breakthrough secure sectors achievements. Finished Breakthrough on defense on Empire State, which was a pain. Matchmake into another Breakthrough. Empire State again on defense. I escaped, exit game, shut down Battlefield. It's like, I need to play something different. It is horrible playing the same game over and over again, the same map over and over again, the same attack defense over and over again. Matchmaking absolutely sucks in Battlefield. And one other just addition on this is that the devs specifically said that you could do open or closed weapons, and that they will make sure to include closed weapons for the official supported playlist. You can't just play closed weapons conquest. They make you join closed weapons like All Out War or something, and this playlist is escalation and conquest. I actually like escalation. I think it's kind of fun. I get tired of it ever so often, but I just want to play conquest. There's no way to officially play closed weapons conquest. Every time that I played this, I think I played maybe one conquest round out of 5. Every other one was escalation, and I was scratching my head just wondering why I wasn't playing conquest. The game literally will prevent you from playing it. It's just going to be a crapshoot. They're just going to matchmake you into randomness, and you just have to go along for the ride. It sucks feeling like you can't control what you want to play in Battlefield. Overall, with these matchmaking problems, you can't even filter your servers if you want to, because the filter for like saying, hey, I want to make sure I only play official Firestorm servers, after like 3 minutes, the game will just say, hey, I don't want you to wait for 3 minutes, so I'm just going to put you into any random game. And even though you asked for Firestorm, you might get Saints Quarter or whatever. It is not a fun experience getting into a game of Battlefield. And that brings us to Portal. Now, the devs said that Portal was going to be able to be there for the community to create their own experiences, to host their own servers. If we want to play Conquest and only Conquest with closed weapons, then we can do that. Portal is turning into a bot farm. It is so frustrating trying to just play Portal. And I'm having trouble coming to terms with my enjoyment of Battlefield, because once again, I'm glad I waited a couple days. Friday night, this was the best game I have played in a decade. Sunday, I am getting a little burned out from just trying to play Battlefield my way, and I didn't think that was going to be the case. Portal, you have these hosted servers, dedicated servers, you can play your experience. We had a server, Conquest, large maps only. I upped the ticket count. We made sure that you could play just the fun maps with air vehicles in them and none of these smaller maps, so we could just play Conquest with closed weapons, large maps, and feel like we're playing Battlefield again. It was up for Friday night. It was a fantastic experience. We had the server full for like 12 hours, so much fun. I felt like I was honestly mid-2010s again. We had people in our Discord. We had like 10 of us in Discord, laughing, joking, blowing each other up because we had split up on both sides. We had so much fun. Battlefield was back. Saturday, I can't get the portal up because I'm getting an error that there are too many servers up for Battlefield. And this is the caveat, this is the asterisk, this is the, well, hold on, you can get a free hosted server if we have space. And what's happening right now is that almost every single server on Portal is some type of bot farm or like a couple players against AI, XP farms, training. There's very few Conquest either hardcore experiences or just conquest closed weapon experiences, we can't get servers up to play anymore. I just want to host my own server. I do it for squad. I would gladly even pay money to EA to make sure my server is always available and we can admin it and all that type of stuff. I can't do that right now. So I've started to get frustrated in the past now 12 hours playing Battlefield that I'm having to play the official playlist. So I have to play Conquest and Escalation in All Out War if I want to do closed weapons. Or I have to play Open Weapons Conquest. Or I have to play this mixed match stuff. The server browser is frustrating. The portal just doesn't really work most of the time because it's, that reminds me. The portal experiences. How did I forget about this? You guys remember all over the internet, we had amazing devs create maps like Shipment in Battlefield. And that there is a Shipment that works. The problem with these community servers, and whichever one is up is now just up, and that's the experience. We had someone, I joined a Shipment server, and I don't know if this person just created, like copy pasted the official Shipment map that someone else had made, Matavar had made, and they put it on Empire State, and the entire thing was bugged. We had like a 4x4 foot playable area. We fell through the ground. The actual ground was water. You parachuted in. You couldn't fight anyone. It was garbage. Portal is turning into just a dumpster fire experience, and that is really taken away from Battlefield. When you're in a good game of Battlefield 6, when we were in our server, when we were in just it, Battlefield feels back. I love the weapons. I love the kits. I love the world, even without some of the best destruction there. I love the vehicles, even though there's some issues with it. Battlefield 6, when we're just playing on a server we want to play, with a game mode we want to do, with rule sets that we want, it is amazing. Easily like a 9 or 10 out of 10. Right now, kind of like a 7. And I am surprised I'm saying that. There are so many issues when it comes to matchmaking, when it comes to the maps, when it comes to the menu UI, when it comes to some of the game modes. Yes, there are some bugs. There are some movement issues here and there. There are some problems in general with just playing, but the things that really take it away are just the map pool, the matchmaking, the lack of real good sectors and fun feeling when you're playing games like Rush and Breakthrough. There are so many things that I feel like you're fighting the game just to enjoy Battlefield 6. And when you do finally win that battle, when you do finally get into the game with your buddies and you're in it, it feels like Battlefield. I think if you are on the fence of Battlefield, whether you really want to jump in or not, you might want to save your money, see how this next month goes, see if Battle Royale adds anything to you, because I do believe that is going to be free. The campaign should not convince you to play this at all. It's going to be a 5-hour campaign. I think Portal needs to be fixed. I think matchmaking needs to be fixed. I think filters need to be fixed for you to really take advantage and have fun with Battlefield. Right now, the entire matchmaking experience feels like we're in an extended beta, and you are going to have a lot of frustration. When you get in those good games, they are good. A lot of the times, though, I feel myself like backing out, trying to find a better one, if you can, you might want to save your money, wait to the end of the month, see if there's any deals, and enjoy it. But wow, that was a lot longer of a video than I thought it was going to be, but hey, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Battlefield 6. Some good, some bad, and as we saw, I don't even know how they got this matchmaking through the beta process, but here we are. So 7 out of 10, good score. Was I being too nice, not critical enough? Is it worth $70? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And yeah, Battlefield is back, kind of. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.